¿Qué tal, camarecto? Estamos aquí en Manhattan, New York City, y vamos a entrevistar a una fotógrafa de moda espectacular, Lindsay Adler, que ha trabajado para revistas como Marie Clarie, Harper's Bazaar y Elle. Vamos a conocerla hoy día y nos va a mostrar cómo trabaja. Thank you for receiving us here at your studio in New York. We've seen that you've been making great pictures with brands and models and fashion. So tell me, what do you think are the keys to a great portrait?
A great photo, there's two main pieces. It's the technical and the conceptual. So the point is that if you take a picture that's pretty with a nice pose, it's only okay. It's got to have something else, a storytelling element, or maybe it's about color or emotion. So anytime I think that there's a good image, it's the technical part supports the idea behind it. The idea is soft, feminine relationship between a mother and child. Like it can just be that. It doesn't need to be this happened and then the person, it doesn't have to be narrative.
Yeah. Can you give us some quick tips for posing?
I think the most important thing to remember is that everybody looks different. Everybody has a different body type. So if you remember like one pose and try to make everyone fit it, it doesn't work. Everyone's different. So instead, it's better to understand how your camera works. So my quick tip is take a look at your photo and see where your eye is going. What looks larger in the photo? So for example, if you're looking at their stomach, it's probably not where you intended. So the rules of posing, or the rules of your lens perspective, is anything you want to appear bigger, bring closer to the camera, and anything that you want smaller, push it away. But you can do that with camera angle. Like if you get up higher, my head will be bigger and my stomach will be smaller.
That's
or,
a selfie trick.
Yeah, well, exactly. Or leaning towards camera makes it bigger. So that's the, the selfie.
Is it important the connection you have with the models?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of rules that I teach people about posing. You want to avoid foreshortening, which is like this effect, okay? It's looking like it's cut off. You want to avoid mergers, like arms tight against the body. You want to, there's all these different things to avoid, but in the end, if you don't have a good pose or a good expression, then it's a bad photo. So you should make sure the expression is the most important thing. Most of the time, even if it's a terrible pose, if the expression is great, your subject still likes it. So expression first, then everything else is what you should worry about.
What are your favorite modifiers?
The first one is, for portraits, a big soft light source, which it would be a big umbrella with diffusion. It's really similar quality of light as a softbox, and when you bring it in close, it just gives you gorgeous light. So that's a good portrait light, but I think one of the reasons, and I hope my work stands out, like I'm not saying it's the best or anything, but I'm hoping it stands out, is because I don't only use soft light. A lot of people only use umbrellas and softboxes, and after a while, I get bored. So I use a lot of hard light, like bare bulb, but then I can cast cool shadows across the face, or I can make really crisp Rembrandt light. I just know out of camera, the skin doesn't look as good, so it has to be retouched. I don't consider that cheating. It's like I get a more interesting photo, I just have to retouch more. So you gotta balance those two. So I'd either say going with bare bulb hard light, or the exact opposite, big soft umbrella with diffusion.
Do you think we always need expensive gear to get good results?
I think people say they need expensive gear because it's a good excuse for why something didn't turn out. Oh, I didn't have this piece of gear, so I couldn't do whatever. It's such, we say it's such a crutch, something people lean on. And it's dumb. Because it makes it seem like the photographer isn't important, and we're the most important part. And there's videos of photographers using toy cameras and getting beautiful photos. When I first started, I used the cheapest strobes I could get my hands on, and the photos looked bad. It wasn't the bad lights, it was my bad photography. And as I grew, I had better gear, my photos were better, but it wasn't the gear. So yeah, you can make beautiful photos with anything.
What camera are you using right now, and why?
Sure. So I use the Canon 5D Mark IV primarily as my studio camera. And then I'm a nerd, so I have two other cameras that I like to use. I use the Canon 5DS if I know I need huge files, because it's 50 megapixels. So sometimes I need that. But the other camera is I have the Canon mirrorless, the EOS R. The reason I've been loving it is I've never shot mirrorless before.
Yes.
And recently I've had to shoot some things outdoors where I needed to shoot at 1.2, like wide open. And without the help of eye tracking and eye focus, I can't get those in focus.
Really?
So this camera, I've been like, oh my gosh, I can shoot at 1.2.
So thank you so much, Lindsay, for having us here at your studio. And what would you say to a boy or a girl that wants to be a photographer and doesn't know what to do? Or
Okay, cool. I got 2 pieces of advice. All right, so piece of advice number 1 is find your specialty. In the beginning, you don't need to. In the beginning, shoot everything. Shoot sports, shoot nature, shoot portraits, shoot still life. But eventually find that one thing that excites you and focus on it, because then the more time you spend on that one thing, you become so much better at it that you become better than everyone else, right? So it becomes your specialty. And that's why I do beauty photography. And there's people that I know that are sports photographers. They're successful because they have a specialty. The other piece of advice is if you want to do it, if you'd like to do this as a career, you have to treat it as a business. It's still art, but you're a small business owner, and so think of it as a business. Learn business, take business classes, find a mentor to teach you about running a business, because otherwise all the joy disappears because you spend all the time just trying to figure out how to make money. But if right away you start treating it as a business, things go much more smoothly. So the art's still there. Don't let it get crushed by the weight of struggling.
Gracias camaradictos por ver este video. Si te gustó, dale un corazón, dale un love. Comenta abajo, cuéntanos si has hecho fotografía, retratos de moda y nos vemos en la próxima.